Imagine stepping out to grab the morning paper. I know people don't really read the paper anymore. They should. I wish they did. Doesn't matter. Pretend you're walking the dog. You find a chunk of an airplane sitting in your driveway. That actually happened this week and led to a great 911 call.
There is a portion of an airplane wing blocking my driveway.
So matter of fact, so calm. A flap from a wing of a Delta Boeing 737 landed in a Raleigh driveway. It broke off mid-flight. And I don't know what's crazier, that it happened or that the crew didn't know that it happened until after they landed, or that the homeowner knew what it was. When he saw it, he spotted it and said, oh, I know what that is. Like, has that happened to him before? Regardless, this is the second what the heck story coming out of RDU in a matter of days. Last week, 5 people were injured on a flight from Miami to RDU after sudden extreme turbulence. People said it was like a roller coaster drop. People screaming in terror, and then this memorable interview from a passenger.
The fasten seatbelt sign was on, yet some were still up, like Cameron Autry, who found himself in the bathroom.
You know, I think I might have been in the absolute worst place in the entire airplane when it happened. I'm just holding on to the faucet and the edge of the sink, like just whatever I can find.
We like to say that accidents like that are 1 in a million. But in the U.S., we actually hit that number a little faster than you may think. It takes just 22 days for us to reach 1 million flights in this country. 16 million flights a year, 35 million globally. There are more planes flying around the country and world today than ever before. Millions more than just 20 years ago. So if it feels like this kind of stuff is happening more often, you're not crazy. Let's go in depth. I should say it's still more dangerous to drive to the airport than to get on the plane. Then again, you are unlikely to hit turbulence on the Beltline. Here's something that you may not know, but may not surprise you. USA Today published a study last year from the National Center for Atmospheric Research that studies 10,000 airplane routes, and they ranked the top 10 bumpiest flights in the country. And we were on the list 3 times, more than any other city. Nashville to RDU came in at number 1, JFK to RDU came in at number 4, and Pittsburgh to RDU landed at number 7. That Nashville flight ranked just outside of the top 10 globally. And turbulence can be dangerous, especially if you're not using your seatbelt. We know this from a flight last week that injured 5 people. But those incidents are increasing because turbulence is getting more frequent. Researchers in the UK found that clear air turbulence around the world is 55% more frequent today than in 1979, and up 41% alone in the US. And those researchers think it's because of climate change.
So it's this temperature gradient that's increasing in time, and it's basically leading to a faster, more chaotic jet stream, which is then leading to more instances of clear turbulence.
Now look, I'm not trying to scare anybody here. I mean, statistically, flying has never been safer. MIT published a study last year saying commercial flights have gotten nearly twice as safe every decade since the 60s. Your chances of dying from 1978 to 1987 were 1 per 750,000 passengers. From 2018 to 2022, it was 1 per 13.7 million. I mean, just look at the differences from year to year there. They are huge. And that's because everything keeps getting better. The designs, tech, data, training, and oversight. Unfortunately, though, that last one can get a little sloppy. Like, I don't know, when a door blows off a plane and almost throws people into the sky. Just last week, the NTSB weighed in on that crazy blowout from 2024 when the door plug of a plane leaving Portland, Oregon blew off at 15,000 feet. The pressure and the suction literally ripped people's clothes right off their body. Miraculously, on an almost full flight, no one was sitting in the 2 seats closest to that hole that was created. Turns out the door was missing bolts that should have been there. The NTSB chairwoman basically said people messed up. She called it a systemic failure, saying the safety deficiencies that led to this accident should have been evident to Boeing and the FAA. All of this has led to change, new safety standards, leadership, and training. Unfortunately, sometimes it does take mistakes to force action, or sometimes tragedy. You remember the tragedy in D.C., of course, when a landing passenger plane collided with a Black Hawk helicopter, killing everyone. Afterward, the FAA finally addressed its shortage of air traffic controllers. They increased salaries by 30%. They streamlined the hiring process, aiming to hire 2,000 ATC trainees in 2025. But it took something unthinkable. I mean, despite the fact that more than a year earlier, the New York Times published an article showing how close calls happen far more than we thought, citing an internal FAA safety report showing a 25% increase in the last decade. So I imagine that all of this has you feeling a little anxious. Well, good. We need you to feel that way. It is the reason we demand perfection, constantly updating the standards, the oversight, the tech, the training. It is that anxiety and that fear that makes flying so much safer than any other type of travel, safer than driving, being on a train, taking the bus, riding a bike, or even walking down the street. You are in a tube flying above the clouds at 600 miles per hour, and it is the safest form of travel because that is insane, and we know it. Just some perspective, in case a wing flap lands in your yard. Let me know if you have any thoughts on this one, any questions. What am I not considering here? Email me, dan@wral.com. Tell me what's on your mind, and we'll go in depth.